Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you today. My name is Laurel Firestone. I'm an attorney and co-executive director of the Community Water Center. We're based in Visalia, California, in the Central Valley. We're an environmental justice nonprofit, and our mission is to act as a catalyst for community-driven water solutions through organizing, education, and advocacy in California's San Joaquin Valley. We work for water justice from and for the Valley because we believe that clean water is a human right and not a privilege. Every year in California, approximately 1 million people are exposed to illegal and unsafe levels of contaminants in their tap water. The vast majority of these public systems are in the Central Valley. This may surprise some of you in the Bay Area, which has some of the best quality tap water and some of the cheapest rates. But in your own backyard, tens of thousands of families lack safe water to drink in their homes. Yes, despite the billions of federal and state tax dollars used to build vast systems of water infrastructure throughout our state, we can't guarantee even safe drinking water for our residents. Not surprisingly, it's not Silicon Valley or Beverly Hills children whose parents have to buy 5-gallon jugs for their families to drink. California has a clear, consistent water policy that has never been more evident. Water flows towards money and power. It is the poorest communities in our state, and primarily immigrant and communities of color, that lack access to what should be a basic human right for all Californians. An initial analysis by UC Berkeley researchers, some of which are here today, in our area indicated that both income and race were significant factors on the safety of water in Tulare County homes. Low-income communities and Latino communities are significantly more likely to be served by water systems with water quality violations. While the majority of these systems are small, rural farm worker communities, I'm not just talking about shanty towns temporarily constructed for migrant farm workers. I'm also talking about established towns that have been around for over 100 years, where people own their homes, families live, pay taxes, and work. Alpa, East Orosi, Tullyville, Monterey Park Track, and Plainview are some of the communities that have not had safe water to drink in their homes for years. Unfortunately, these communities are not alone. Today, more than 20% of Tulare County public community drinking water systems have ongoing safe drinking water violations, almost entirely due to nitrate contamination in wells. Nearly 75% of private wells that were tested in the county by the state had unsafe levels of contamination. As a result, families have to pay some of the highest proportional water rates in the state for water that they can't drink, and then have to buy bottled water on top of that. For many, this amounts to 10% of a family's household income just for drinking water. 90% of Central Valley communities rely on groundwater for their source of drinking water. But we continue to allow the world's most intensive agriculture to apply fertilizers, pesticides, and animal waste products without protection for our aquifers below. Nitrate, primarily from fertilizers and animal waste, is the biggest groundwater contaminant and the leading cause of drinking water well closure in the state. Nitrate is an acute contaminant. It can kill infants within a matter of days, can cause stillborn babies and other reproductive problems, blue baby syndrome, and has been linked to cancer and kidney disease as well as other health impacts. But the challenges are multifaceted. Communities face not only contamination of groundwater sources, but inadequate rural utility infrastructure. I brought a piece of water pipes from the community of Plainview that they're replacing this month. As you can see, this rusty, leaky pipe was what was used to serve hundreds of families drinking water, and it's actually an old oil field pipeline. that was used to supply water in that community. Additionally, water governance structures remain segregated, inaccessible, and undemocratic in our state, meaning that community residents literally have no voice in the decisions affecting them. Water power in the Central Valley has remained clearly in the hands of large agricultural landowners, and communities with their drinking water needs have been left to fend for themselves. As I mentioned, the poorest families are having to make tough trade-offs on whether to buy bottled water, in addition to the extremely high water rates they have to pay for water that they can't drink. It's important to understand that there's not just one reason for this crisis. As with most problems, there are systemic and years of history that have contributed to where we are today. Low-income communities of color have been left out of California water planning. Farm labor camps, segregated non-white areas outside of towns were never given proper drinking water infrastructure. Meanwhile, the state and federal government built giant aqueducts, moving snowmelt through farming areas and ultimately to large coastal cities. But that fresh water never reaches any of the communities it passes through until it's mixed with fertilizers and pesticides and has been dumped on the land and must be pumped out of the ground. This pattern continues today as wealthy cities refuse to allow low-income outlying areas and a few hundred farm workers to connect to their systems. Instead, these small communities have to pay the full cost of running a water system alone. This is not just a problem of science and engineering, but the problems come down to power and access to resources, the classic haves and have-nots. As a progressive, prosperous state, we have the responsibility to ensure that all Californians have access to safe, clean, and affordable drinking water. And that's going to take making the invisible visible and giving a voice in California water planning to all of those that have been left without a drop to drink. For more information on how you can help secure safe, clean, and affordable drinking water, I encourage you to get information on our website, which is www.communitywatercenter.org. And I look forward to answering questions. Thank you.